Okay, so I've had a bit of a think, and I haven't decided. I don't have, uh, excuse me, I don't have, uh, interesting. I don't have a tablet just now. I've got one arriving soon, but any drawing I do is mouse drawing. How do I know the colour? Okay. Uh, Viewports, the form hierarchy, layers, and graphics. Difficult. All graphics have a form. I think that using the mouse to draw is going to be bad. And the forms are in a hierarchy with a root. These are forms. And the forms are going to be blobs because I can't be bothered drawing rectangles with the mouse. So on and so forth. Now, one option, let's say I want a screen and I want a pair of viewports in random places because I don't care. What if I want to display the same thing in both viewports? What if I accept that both viewports have completely separate displays, separate contents? What do the viewports actually have to contain? The viewports are like individual screens. They have a camera position, they have the world that they're looking at, and they have a camera position, scale and angle. They have all the things in the world in their positions, and a camera pointed at all the things in the world. And one way of looking at it is that the form hierarchy is everything in the world. And every viewport can display the form hierarchy. Now, that's no good. That's no good because some viewports don't want the entire form hierarchy in them. Many won't. And for the purposes of this project I'm working on, they won't really share. None of the viewports will share very much. But I do want to make it such that viewports can share things, so if I have an entire level, two viewports can both be looking at the same level, and I'm not, what am I recalculating? That's the question. When the two viewports can have their own independent camera position, scale and angle, but of course their contents are the same set of contents. Anyway, so another option is to completely separate out form hierarchies into separate form hierarchies for separate viewports. That pretty much excludes sharing, so I just don't think that's any use. But I think that I do need to subdivide the overall form hierarchy into a set of into a group of graphic sets, say, so that there is such a thing as a display set, and that multiple display sets can be associated, one or more display sets can be associated with an individual viewport. Now, that implies that inside a view set contains a form hierarchy, or a display set contains a form hierarchy. Of its own. And that a viewport draws whichever view sets are associated with it. Now, gosh, what on earth am I really thinking? Objects within any individual form hierarchy may be moved. This is, I suppose, why batch processing batch processing entire hierarchies doesn't make sense, and I should just process parts that change. Boy oh boy, you know, it's always the way. I start thinking, here I am going to do a slimmed down version of what I had, and realising of course that the slimmed down version still has loads of bits and pieces anyway. So the hierarchy gets parsed. I suppose one thing about parsing the hierarchy is that a single display set, oh, I hate not having a tablet, a display set, I can configure sort of world coordinates for the items inside an individual display set, but for each viewport those world coordinates need a further transformation. Now the question is, while I am performing work during the game logic and the collision logic, and I'm changing the positions of forms inside a display set, changing the positions of forms inside a display set, what am I really doing? I'm figuring out the, oh gosh, I'm losing track really quickly. So I'm changing the position of the forms inside a display set during the logic portion of my frame. Then I can process the display set, any changed parts of the display set, let's say, so that the world coordinates of every item matrix in it is accurately described. Then when it comes to displaying a viewport, it's a question of doing what? Going through the display sets and going through each layer. Like in a single display set, does a display set contain a layer list? Ah, man. I think it does, because it is bringing me to another little aspect of this, because the process for rendering a viewport then is going through each display set in turn, going through the layers of each display set in turn. So layer 0 from display set 1, layer 0 from display set 2, layer 1 from display set 1, from so on and so forth. To build the viewport. Now, often a viewport will only have one display set, that'll be fine, but even so. Now, it sort of begs the question, how do you determine where what I want to be able to do is set a graphics forms parent. Every graphic will hold a form which describes where it is on in local space and relative to its parent. And I want to be able to set a graphics form's parent and have that determine which display set it belongs to automatically, so that I don't have to faff around when I create an object telling it which display set it is in and which parent it has. I want to be able to say this is your parent, and for that to determine the display set that it's in, because the hierarchies belong and exist inside display sets. Excuse me. And I feel like I'm basically accepting the fact that I have to do a further transformation for every viewport that every display set's in, and that is quite annoying. It feels annoying. It feels like I should be able to do that once, but I just can't. Ah, man, I'm dedicating to parsing the entire damn thing okay, right, I'm just going to do it. This is the way I'm going to do it. It all needs parsed every time. Yeah, okay, no, I've got it, kind of getting it together in my mind. So, a viewport, beautifully written, is what? It includes a display set list, and it has a camera matrix, sort of. I mean, I may store X, Y, X scale, Y scale stuff, but ultimately a matrix. And it has its own dimensions, its own pause, size, and angle for where it appears on the screen. That is a tricky one, and will take some thought. And a display set. What does a display set really contain? It contains a layer array, and it contains, I've got my hand in front of my mouth, I wonder how bad that sounds. It contains a layer array, and it contains a root, form, nice, yeah, and that's about it, round about it. Ponder, ponder, ponder. And each layer here is actually boy, what is each layer? Each layer is graphics list. Oh, I can't wait to get a stylus. Okay, let's see. Now, interleaving layers of all display sets inside a viewport. Right. Okay. So, one little thing is, a ponder I had about a form, about how forms work, about how the layer works inside a form. It's probably not worth doing here. I think it really is part of graphic, and when a graphics layer is set, I can parse the graphics children. I think that that is the way it is. It's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep the layers out for now. And I will probably regret it, but never mind. Layers will go into graphics. Now, also in graphic, I will have class. I probably don't need a root X form in X form, in a root form and form. I will have class display set, and I will have class viewport, and I have a feeling that I'm going to want to keep track of all my display sets and all my viewports. All my display sets and all my viewports. Yeah, so that means doing things like mobile all list display set equals new list display set. And some of the things that a display set will need is a root form, so incompetent, a root form, I will need perhaps a constant. Max layers unsigned int equals 100. Field layer. I can't remember the damn notation for this. So bad of me. Is there anywhere here I can handily get it? I don't think so. Yeah, well, no. All the way up here. Okay, yeah, there is. Layer list graphic max layers. Okay. What's the problem with that, sir? That sort of thing worries me. I am including form graphic. I'm expecting this, but encountered max layers. Oh, you bloody what? that's okay. Max layers is this. Don't understand. Okay, well, yeah, I suppose. Okay. So this whole system's going to have some kind of init. Or is it? No, it's not really. The main thing that happens is I say method new. Oh, what am I getting wrong about that? Let's see. Man. This is weird. I really do forget how to do this sort of stuff. Graphic. This is why it's incompetent coding, as I keep saying. Graphic max layers. You think that's okay? Wow. Local n equals 0 until max layers. Layer n equals new list graphic. Come on now, that should be alright, surely. I have to do that? No, you think it's okay? Also, I need a field all node list display set node. All node equals all at last self. If all node equals null. Everything else should go away. Yeah. Just thinking, yeah, everything else should go away. Which, doing this little bit does remind me. Inside form, I need a remove. And one of the things it does is it says parent equals null. And inside here I also say family node equals null. And there yeah. Just because that needs to happen. When an X form is removed, if an item is removed, it needs to have the reference to its form removed from its parent, or it will continue to exist. And that, setting the parent to null, should man. Okay, well, right. I wonder if I should make these little bad boys private. Not just yet. Okay. Now, just say root equals new form. And it has no root itself. A new form has no root. It just has its blank matrix and setup of this. There's a global root, and work tree works the root. Let me think for a moment. What am I trying to even think about here? What I'm trying to consider is, how am I going to use this root? I want to call, because I could call this work root and make it you pass a root. And here I say if not rt equals a root. Then I say if not rt, return. And there I do that. And then I can use work root. But passing, and I still have to go form work root. Right, this brings me to another problem. Other problem, which is when I want to set a layer of a graphic, how do I know which display set layer list to alter? Layer array to refer to which display set? I can make it graphics just to remember which damn display set they're in. Can I really do that? I mean, that's not what I want to do. I want to just be able to set the form parent and have it therefore appear. Because, yeah. And if I do make it just by setting the form, that has to stick it into the correct layer list. Oh, that is starting to make my head hurt now. I can't take the layers out of form. If setting the form is how you determine the display set, and it has to be, I have to be able to like set, I don't know, set the head of a person. Just create a graphic which is a head, set its parent form to be the neck, and then it will be displayed inside the right display set. I don't want to have to create a head of the person, then make its parent the neck, then say also it's displayed in the same display set as the neck. So setting the form's parent is how I want to be determining the display set of any graphic, and belonging to a display set will determine whether or not it appears in a particular viewport. which follows, so it sort of follows that setting form's parent will, well, first off, it will possibly affect the layer, so that has to be considered. I have to put the layers back into form. I just have to. It's annoying, but man, I suppose I could have a graphic set parent, and you can really only have a. Well, I don't like that either. I don't like having graphics which are only parentable by graphics. I'd like to have graphics parentable by otherwise bare X forms or forms. Man, this is just a thing that was going to take some continual thought. I think I'm getting a bit closer to what I want. I mean, this is starting to look like a subset still of the more complete version of the code. I say more complete, the more expansive version, but because it's not complete. More complete than this, I suppose. Anyway. And I'm getting along, so I'm kind of getting closer to it. I suppose what is the next thing that I should think about for the next video? It will be it'll be how I associate forms with display sets if I need to, how I can avoid it if I want to, how I mesh layer information, like a graphic or form's knowledge of its layer, its display set, to make sure that setting a parent of a form will make sure any graphic associated with it goes to the correct display set. Man, and if that means tracking display sets and graphics associated with forms, I'll be annoyed about that. It will just be an extra reference, but it feels like baggage. I suppose I could extend form. Could I? Could I really? I don't know. Could I? Well, these are the things I'm going to consider. So, yeah. Associating forms with display sets so that graphics associated with them end up in the correct layer list. That is what I'm going to be doing next time.